Hey everyone, this is LuckySevenDX. Welcome back to Let's Play Okamiden. Last episode, bad things happen. Kuni turns out to be Akuro's vessel, so Kurow now controls Kuni. Kurow has betrayed us and joined the forces of darkness. He's sitting on an awesome throne apparently right now. Kurow, why are you such a pansy? And now we're sucked into the dark world. Shiranui is dead. Things are just going horrible. So will we be able to climb out of this rut? Well, we shall see. Because, well, things are going to get a little worse, and then hopefully we can find a little way out. Because, well, he still has he has the powers of darkness and light. That's gonna be a hard thing to overcome, that's for sure. And yeah, they did mention it. All four of the previous bosses, they are back, and so we're kind of a bit outnumbered. They have four bosses, a guy who has the power of darkness and light, and even Kurow's on his side. And all we have is a little bug, Isshaku, the former partner of the late Shiranui, out to get revenge for his partner, along with Chibi, who's out to save the world and get revenge for his grandfather. There's no way we're going to lose, except for the fact that we're just horribly outnumbered. I mean, Okami sort of has something like this, though, too, where Amaterasu sort of gets her ass kicked before, so I guess, in a way, I was kind of expecting this at the beginning, but who knows. Kurow is just being a douchebag. Naki is down. Dude, we never insulted you, and then all of a sudden, he just sends a bunch of energy balls to go, those don't look good, those don't look good, no, bad, bomb's bad, ow. I did that, yeah, we are a bit outnumbered, and there we go, the bosses are back as well, standing in our way, and yes, do you know what that means, guys? There will, in fact, be another boss fight of all four of them, not at once, luckily, one at a time. And not quite right now, you'll see how it works in a little bit, but we do have a lot of stuff to overcome here. So yeah, 1-on-1. It's like 6 versus 1 right now. Kurow, stop being so mean. Stop being such a put-downer. We are totally worthy. We're a god too, you know. But I guess you know, we are a little kid god. I mean, I guess on the one hand, Chibi does seem a bit weak compared to Amaterasu, and a bit headstrong too. Yes, just charge at the 6 people. That's of course gonna work, Chibi. Your battle strategies are not that clever. Unfortunately, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. What can we do? Is this going to be the end of Chibi, guys? Is this the end of the world of light? And even despite, you have to give props to Chibi, though. Despite all these odds, he still wants to save Kuni and Kurow, even though he's betrayed him. And even though Kuni is, you know, in has being possessed by the strongest force of darkness in the world. Kurow, I'm so glad I drew douchebag faces for you now. You're not very nice. Not very nice. And they always bring up this point about how everything was planned from the beginning, and then that you're all alone, yet you've been able to do anything on your own. Just continuing to bring him down mentally and physically and emotionally. Man, these bosses do. I mean, these guys do know some mental warfare here. Once again, the flame laser. Chibi still not strong enough to withstand that. I think kicked our ass back then. It's kicking our ass now. Get up, Chibi. You have to keep fighting. We need to find some help, though. Obviously, Chibi cannot do this all alone. We need to find us a partner, because Isshaku realizes that he's just a little bug, and he's kind of useless. Isshaku, well, I guess we can't call him useless, because he does have a badass moment right here where he finds a solution to our problems. Things are looking bad, but it's time to begin the comeback. Because Isshaku has a plan to get us out of this sticky situation with our celestial brush. This is a bit of an ass pull, I will admit, this plan. It's a bit of an ass pull. It's a bit of a deus ex machina. But, basically, you're gonna see in a little bit, it's kind of silly. They're gonna split time and space. Oh, the Doctor would be so pissed. But yeah, we're gonna literally cut a fabric through reality to bring our partners to us. That's just how epic Isshaku is. A bit of an ass pull, but sure, let's go for it. So, of course, we're gonna have to help him, cut the line here, so boom, cutting a hole through time and space. Can we summon some of our partners to help us out and help us through the sticky situation? I don't know what a bunch of kids are going to do to help us fight the ultimate evil, but who knows? And of course it works. Of course, somehow we managed to crack reality. Way to go, guys. You broke reality. So Chibi, of course, going to go ahead and try and summon his partners. Kurow, though, is not going to stand for this. Chibi calling out. Yeah, call out for his. How can you call out for his name? His name's not Bark Bark Bark, and Chibi's a dog. He can't call out names. He can't speak English. However, Kurow, of course, being a spoilsport, sees this plan, and being a villain who is actually smart and doesn't, just sit around and let the good guys do what they please, he shuts down the interdimensional portal and brings reality back to normal. We have failed. No one has come to help us. We are done. We tried to call out for our friends in our time of need, but we've been shut down. Kurow, you and your friends. You just hate friends, don't you? Luckily for us, though, our friends are badass. And here's why I love Mampuku so much. Because that whole promise he had earlier of in your time of need, I'll come and find you. He pretty much reopens him and the other partners just pretty much reopen the fabric of reality with their friendship. Their friendship is so strong that it breaks time and space. That's pretty bad. And this, just this hug right here, where Chibi's like, we're just like, yes, I'm here for you. And they just have this hug of, oh, thank goodness. And of course, he's not gonna be alone. There were 5 Children of Destiny. And it's time for Chibi's family to make a reappearance. His family being, of course, the parties he traveled. So, I mean, it sort of feels like a family. The 5 kids of Destiny is what I like to call them. So, we have ourselves a bit of a battle here now. Chibi, Isshaku, Mampuku, Nanami, Kagura, versus the 4 bosses, Kurow and Akuro. This is getting exciting, actually. This is getting pretty interesting. We have summoned some friends. And now, perhaps the fight might be a little more fair. Although, let's face it, these partners really didn't ever do much, so I wouldn't call that much more fair. We're still gonna have to do all the work, of course. And of course, Kurow denying that he has any friends. Dude, what about the entire game? We hung out, we had a good time. Sure, I drew you some bad faces, but we were still buddies. I only did it because I love you. But no, Kurow, apparently something has changed. That message, ever since he went away, something has changed. Now he feels like he has no friends. What happened? We'll be finding out later. Akuro, though, is now actually interested in what's happened, and he's decided to make us run through a gauntlet to prove our worthiness. And this is actually what is going to happen. We're going to have our 3 partners, we're going to have a gauntlet where we're literally going to have to fight every single enemy in the game, every single, scroll enemy, and the 4 bosses. So we have, pretty much the next 3 episodes are going to be the Dark World Gauntlet! How exciting! So, what's going to happen, basically, is we'll start, there's 3 stages. We'll start each stage alone, and what will happen is we're going to have to go fight a bunch of enemies to rescue our partner, and then fight a bunch of enemies to make our way back to the beginning, where, as you can see in this case, since it's Mampuku stage, we have a cannon that we need to use to get to the next area. And after we use that cannon, we'll actually have to fight a boss. So that's kind of like the pattern that's going to be going on. You'll see an example in here. This is a shorter stage. Obviously, it's going to get progressively harder the more stages we go. This one only has 4 enemies to fight. Now, what I'm going to do during this whole segment is I will actually take this opportunity to show off all the battle items I haven't shown off at all anymore. So you'll actually get a chance to see all the different items that you can possibly get in the game, and we'll go from there. So, yeah, so basically I'll be using the items like you guys have wanted me to see. I know I don't normally use items, I don't really like to, but I should show them off, and I figured this would be a good time to. So we'll go ahead and equip some of these items now, or add them to shortcuts, because I like to do it from there. I'll show off the Exorcism, the Holy Arrow, we'll do all the normal ones right now, the ones that aren't associated with element. Because we'll be fighting a lot of elemental enemies, and I'll save those ones for the elemental enemies. And, you know, we have a lot of soul sakes, I was going to say soul sakes. That's not how you pronounce it. Japanese soul sakes, and we'll use those as well at some point. But what you need to do, basically, or what the Holy Arrow does, is it fires 3 balls of energy that will deal damage to anyone there. Meanwhile, the Exorcism will deal normal damage to all enemies on the field. So, you might say, okay, so the Exorcisms are obviously better. Does it damage to everyone? Well, the Holy Arrows can be, especially the elemental ones, can be a bit more useful when fighting elemental enemies, because you can use one of them to, because basically, one elemental attack, it doesn't hurt them, it just negates their current element and stuns them. So, if you use the Exorcism, it would only stun them. If you use the Holy Arrow, so like a Holy Arrow of Fire against an Ice Lips, the first one would stun them, and then the next 2 would do massive damage to them. So, they have their advantages. In general, in normal fights, I said the Exorcisms are better, especially in multi-fights, like when there's multiple things to fight. But overall, I would say but against certain fights, the Holy Arrows can be better, so they are actually pretty balanced. Anyway, so we had to fight the original green imps, now we have to fight the original yellow imps, and really the only yellow imps. We only fought one kind of them the entire game. So as you can see, we are pretty much going through all the different enemies. Granted, now that we have massively awesome swords and weapons, we can pretty much destroy them instantly, and they're not really that hard, but we will literally go and fight every single possible enemy that we've ever fought in a battle arena such as this. Which is actually pretty cool, which also means if you haven't fought these enemies and they're not in your enemy list, now is the last chance you can add them to your list and get 100% for that. Now, if you haven't fought any of those enemies that just wander around the map normally, you're screwed because they don't show up at all here. Of course, there are optional paths to get treasure chests. Nothing too important, just like an Infinity S and stuff like that. Nothing too important, really. Anyways, in order to save Mampuku, we also need to fight an enemy, and that enemy will be this guy. So we're going to fight one of these guys by ourselves. They're not too hard, though. I'm going to use a Soul Socket. You can see the item is right there. Also, in case you didn't notice, when you use offensive items, you cannot use any other offensive items for several seconds. Same goes with the defensive items like this. You can't use another one of these for several seconds. So, I believe you can use like the power one and the defense one at the same time, though. So, and the revenge slip kind of counts too. I'll show off the revenge slip later on as well. But yeah, basically, as you can see, extra defense. That still does a lot of damage despite the extra defense. Man, that actually hurt. But it'll probably you'll take like probably another, like either like half or a quarter, depending on how much damage it does. You'll take reduced damage is really all that matters, which isn't that great. I mean, in the end, you don't want to be taking damage at all. But yeah. Anyway, that is the end of that guy. As you can see, I'm not really going to go for the demon items anymore, because there's not really any point to get the demon items. I already have everything I need of them. So just to save time, and since I don't have to like, you know, draw the skills every time, for the most part, I'm going to probably not be getting any of the demon items. So just a heads up on that. I've already shown how to get demon items for everything. So I've already shown what their drops are and how to get them. So I see no reason to farm for them anymore when there's no use for it. Now, if you don't have enough yet, do farm, because there is actually a place later on, there is a demon who will let you buy the improved weapons if you have the right amount of parts. So basically, if you don't have the parts yet and you don't have enough for all the ultimate weapons, farm for them now, because you'll still have an opportunity to get them later. Now, if you don't, I mean, you only have one chance to fight all these battles, so if you don't farm enough right away, you know, through all these fights, you're screwed. But I mean, these don't cost too much. You should at least be able to get enough to get something from these, as long as you farm correctly. So you have that opportunity now, which is nice. Now we're fighting ice guys, so I'm going to go ahead and use some of these fire items here, including the Exorcism F, the Fire Exorcism, and the Holy Arrow F. So I'll go ahead and just show these off. They're pretty much the same thing, except that they're fire, so nothing too special really, but that's just the way it works, I guess. And I'll throw a revenge slip on here. I don't know if I'll use that now, so I might as well put it on there for later. But as you can see, we managed to stun this guy, and it actually does do extra damage to them as well. I didn't really show on the bottom screen, unfortunately, but that's the way it works. And as you can see, like, since he was stunned, the Exorcism Fire did damage to him, but it only stunned this guy. So we'll go ahead and use Mampuku's Fire to get us back here. And then we, of course, use Mampuku's Fire to easily take down these enemies normally. They'll generally give you enemies weak to the type of partner you have, so we'll fight the fire enemies when we have Nanami, for example, because we have her water powers. And Kagura really doesn't have a power, so that doesn't really apply to her. But of course, the lightning enemies are always weak to wind, so in the end it doesn't really matter, does it? Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the boss, because once we recover our partner and get back to the main area, a boss will appear, a very formidable aura, and we're going to go ahead and fight them. And of course, as you can imagine, it will be in order. Now, we don't have Kuni, so for Master Anura, the boss we fought with Kuni, we'll actually be using Mampuku. So Mampuku gets to fight the Toad this time instead of Kuni. In the end, there was nothing special about Kuni that made the fight special, so in the end, I guess it doesn't matter if Mampuku takes the place of Kuni. We never liked you anyway, Kuni. We've only used you from the beginning of the game, though we never touched you since. But yep, Mampuku gets to fight a Toad. Well, I guess he just gets to sit there and carry seeds. I accidentally hurt myself there, whoops. We'll go ahead and, we already know how to fight this guy for the most part. Just keep smacking him. Watch out for his cheek slamming. You'll be able to take him down a bit faster than before just because we have a stronger item now. I think they have the same health, so you do get to take him down a little bit faster. And of course, once he jumps out of the water, cut his belly button. This will cause him to throw up the seeds. We use guidance to take the seed to the required spot, and he'll take damage from that. Do that 3 times, and we've beaten the boss. So really, completely unchanged. These guys don't even count as a new enemy in your enemy database book. So, in the end, you know, it's just kind of repeat the same fight. It's just your typical endgame gauntlet. You know, some games do that, sometimes Zelda does. The first Okami did a gauntlet like this. Games like Mega Man do gauntlets. So it's just your typical, end of game gauntlet that seems to happen often. You and your chunky cheeks, man. They are just... Ow! I jumped into a toad. Okay, I guess if you don't have the toad, you can fight these ones, but you really have no excuse to not have the toad. There's like a gajillion of them throughout the game. Anyway, that's round 2 already done. This guy is going down really fast. Slash his belly button, and you'll be able to continue onward. Now, one thing I actually haven't tested yet that I'm actually kind of curious about now that I think about it. I wonder what would happen if you use something like Inferno on him, or one of your special brush skills. I imagine it would probably do damage, it just wouldn't do like anything too significant. In general, unless the enemy's weak to it, you're really better off using normal slashes and not wasting your ink on those massive special skills, unless you really have to. And they will come in handy later on, because the whole elemental weaknesses still will come heavily into play in these later fights going on here. But anyway, that's 2 out of 3. Only one more time you need to go ahead and fight and take this guy. Whoa! You keep your giant-ass cheeks away from me, Master Nerd. Didn't you learn your lesson the first time? You should just kill yourself now and save yourself the trouble. But then again, these guys aren't exactly sentient. If you can tell, they're kind of puppets of Akuro at this point. They don't really have any free will. You'll see this more when it comes to the next fight after this. They're not going to speak, they're not going to have ambitions, they're just here to get in your way at this point. So they're sort of shells of their former self powered by Akuro is kind of the translation I get from it, I guess. Anyway, one more last guidance path. All we need to do is make sure this guy does not kill Mampuku, and we will have won the game. So of course, when you see him swinging his tug around, do a power slash just to disrupt it. Now would obviously be a good time to do a power slash, disrupt this guy, take him down, cut a frog in half in the meantime. And there we go. Master Onura has been defeated. So instead of getting a cutscene, obviously, of his defeat, all we do is we just get the results right away, and he'll just sort of explode, and we'll leave the boss area. So, no sort of plot or significance. He just fades away, and then we head back. So, like I said, shells of their former self. Now here, yes. I cannot talk at all anymore. But anyway, what we need to do now, we have a special new switch. We haven't seen a purple switch before. Both characters won't be able to activate it. Chibi alone won't be able to activate it. In fact, the only way you can activate it is if you have Mampuku stay on it. And it will, of course, it will get up if Mampuku leaves it. This is basically a device for them to make you abandon Mampuku. So at the end of each of these stages, you'll have one of these switches. You'll have to leave your partner there, and you'll move on alone to get your next one. So this is LuckySevenDX signing out. See you next time for more Gauntlet.